That's right, we are going to find out free music making tips from Julian Casablancas of The Strokes and The Voidz, and we'll focus on the artistry side of things. We're going to find out, what does Jules think the goal is for artists, and are artists who only go after commercial success nihilists? And we're going to find out about the feeling of winning the award of the greatest thing ever. Wait to the end for that one. You'll figure out why soon. Let's get into it. So number one, what does Julian think is the goal for artists when they're making music and art? And he said the goal is to do something you feel artistically is powerful and inspiring. Okay, so powerful, inspiring. So if you're feeling inspired, that's a good sign, obviously. Powerful, I guess it's a sort of, this might move someone in a way. It might make them feel sad or happy or want to dance or, feel like nostalgic or something like that. That has power. He also said the best art confronts you with reality, even if it means sneaking in through allegories and analogies. So you could have a song about a night out, but it's actually about something else that's maybe a bit kind of darker or edgier or political even. I mean, that's a cool thing to think about the Strokes and the Voidz lyrics, how there's actually more than one storyline running through the songs, which I think is amazing actually. He says as a writer, he'll sometimes be completely alone or in the room with a full band. And he said he tries not to overthink things like, oh, we need a wrong chord in here. And through that exploration, they bounce off each other more. So it sounds like quite a natural process when they're writing, whether it's together or just home alone, and kind of letting it flow rather than sitting there kind of thinking, I must write something and I must force this out of me, which I've often found doesn't really work that well with creatives. Everyone's different though, could work well for you, but it sounds like from what Jules is saying, he's more of a natural kind of thing and lets things flow rather than trying to force it out and craft it. And I've heard a lot of creatives say that the kind of the editing or crafting comes after the sort of initial spark of inspiration, where you throw a lot of stuff at the wall and then later edit it down into this refined artistic thing you're making. One funny thing is he said the Voidz actually generate too much, and Jules actually tries to not actively songwrite because they've got so much content. They're all very creative in the band, and he said it's like, how do we actually limit that or capture it in a bottle? And I guess for their albums, they sometimes feel like they've got themes running through them or certain ideas holding them together, and maybe that framework of an album is what helps capture all these ideas but distill it down into one finished work of art. So I think that's why albums are still valuable for artists these days. And I also think St. Vincent is an amazing example of that. Every album she comes with has a whole visual identity as well. The tour has its identity, the sound, the music, everything, even the players on it, all are different from the last album, so it must help focus the idea. So I'm saying this as someone who's worked on loads of singles recently. Maybe it is something even in my own work with No TV, the dance punk band, we should be doing that. Okay, number two. This is a funny one. Are artists who work for commercial success nihilists? So Jules was asked, with all the experience behind him, if he ever had the urge to like sell out and kind of aim for commercial success, like really aim for like, I guess, big pop star moment, kind of sell 1 billion records or streams or something like that. And I know the Strokes are very popular, but they're not really that mold of like a pop star like Taylor Swift kind of thing. Not that I'm slagging off pop stars either, but here's what Jules had to say about it. I think I could, but it could go bad. Whilst he mulled over the prospect. He said fans could sniff out and be like, this is garbage. And there have been plenty of artists trying to go for what seems like solid gold, guarantee success. And it's a source of ridicule for years to come. So it's definitely not worth it in his opinion. And then he was asked, unless you don't care about such things. And he goes, what, if you're a sociopath or nihilist, you mean? And he said he thinks a lot of what pop people are like, they just tune in with what clicks with the masses, what a 4-year-old would be like, what CVS would play, what an Uber driver would leave on a station, what pop radio people would play. And he says he actually respects it, like someone who's good at playing the stock market or something. So He actually said, I don't think it's technically art, but I don't judge if art is better than business. So some cool quotes from Julian there. And yeah, I don't think he's suggesting that all commercially focused artists are sociopath or nihilist, but it was funny he mentioned it, and it was sort of with a laugh apparently when he was asked, unless you don't care about such things. So yeah, to answer the question, are all artists who work for commercial success only nihilists and sociopaths? I don't think so, no, but Jules thinks that it's almost more like playing the stock market or business rather than art then. So you make a judgment on what you want to be involved in more. But I think in the long term, art will have like more staying power than sort of commercial, hugely successful kind of like product style songs. All right, I just want to give you a free gift since you watched this far. I appreciate you being tuned into this. And it's something that's going to help you out with your own music for free, all right? 'Cause that's what I mainly do. I help coach people in music production, music making. So this is for you if you can't get your mix fixed. It's to fix your mix, especially if you're like, I can always hear more and I'm never finished with it. This is your 4-step guide you need. I'm pretty much going to tell you a bit about how buying loads more plugins isn't necessarily going to save your mix, but this EQ trick will. Something you need to know. I'm going to kind of chat about what you should never do when you're trying to finish your track. And also, I just want to teach you how to say F you to procrastination and demotivation, which is the biggest sort of disease spreading through the music production community. How to get rid of that and actually finish your best work and get out there. So it's a 4-step free PDF. You can click below to get it. And I even guarantee it, if you're still a bit stuck after getting the PDF, I actually offer 5 free music production Zoom calls every month as a freebie to people. So claim you're one of those as well. If you get still stuck with a PDF, that's my guarantee, because I want to help you out and I know I can. All right, let's get to the next thing Jules had to say. So this one is about winning the award for the greatest thing ever. So what is that all about? So in this, he was actually talking about patience that's required when you're an artist. And he said you can't just expect things to happen the way you want. And he kind of shrugged as he said it, apparently. You always want to put something out and have everyone say, oh my God, this is the greatest thing of all time. You win the award for the greatest thing ever. And he said, in reality, things take a long time. And I've always just tried to put my head down and make things that are good. Now, I think there's a couple of takeaways from this. Is, when the Strokes released their debut album, people pretty much, in the early 2000s, people pretty much did go, oh my God, this is the greatest thing of all time. So it's kind of ironic. But if you look into the history of the Strokes, like they didn't all meet when they were teenagers, but some of them did and some of them did and eventually got together. So they've known each other a long time already, different members of the group. They went through youth music programs in New York City and kind of were learning their craft and instrument. And even when they were like started the Strokes, they still had a guitar teacher helping them learn how to get the beautiful locking in guitar parts that they're famous for. So they did put in a lot of work to it. They even went and flyered their own shows and everything back in the day, like a lot of young bands do. So yeah, although the Strokes seemed to explode out of nowhere, there was years of work behind it as well. And the other takeaway I'm thinking is how he says, I tend just to put my head down and make things that are good. So I think as creators, we know when we're making stuff, you're in the moment, it's hard to judge. But say after a month or 2 months, you can step back a little bit from your work and be like, okay, well, that one, there's something about that. Maybe you can't even communicate why, but something about this track is sounding better than these other ones, which are all right. And it's okay to have loads of discarded demos and projects and sort of putting your head down, putting in the work, making all these projects and songs and ideas and, discarding some, but focusing on the ones that are good. And the only way you can judge that is just trusting your judgment. You might have collaborators you trust as well, or friends or family, but really it's down to you. Going back to our first point where Jules said, sort of the goal of it is to do something you feel artistically is powerful and inspiring. So yeah, I was so buzzing to see the Voidz in London, and I'd waited almost 10 years to see the Voidz. Over that, you might think, Dave, why would you wait so long to see one of your favourite bands? But I lived up in Scotland. They actually hardly ever, if ever, came to Scotland. And, a trip to London's quite far, but now I live closer to London. I was like, let's go. It's awesome. So, yeah, this is the end of Podcast Waffle, as is the tradition. Hope you're doing well. Leave a comment. Let me know, how is the music making going? So, right now, I appreciate anyone who's viewing this. Especially if you come this far. It's quite a small podcast, this, but I can see the numbers. Anyone this might be helping, 200 views here, 100 views there, helping you with your music. That's awesome. Give me a comment if you're here. I just want to hear from you. What music are you making? What are you doing? What's your biggest problem in music making? What artists do you want to know about in future on the podcast? Always good. I'm probably just going to jump straight in and record another one of these next, which I'm excited for. Marie Davidson. There's one of them out already. She's like my favorite album of this year so far. Sorry, voidz. I think you'll like that. Marie Davidson is amazing too. And if you've loved this one on Jules and the Voidz and the Strokes, there is another episode about the Voidz on the channel as well. So I just want to say, Slanjava, thanks for coming to Whiskey and Synths. Maybe it's time to watch another one of my videos, or maybe it's time to close YouTube and get on with doing some music making. Stop going down the YouTube rabbit hole right now. YouTube are going to hate me for saying that. And go make some music and have fun with it. Thanks. Catch you later. Whiskey and Synths.